Hello, in today's tutorial I will be talking about brushes and how they can be used in Photoshop to do specific things. So let's start by opening a new file. We'll make it 500 by 500. Fairly small. We'll keep the resolution to a standard 72 and we'll make the background transparent. Right, so I'll start my new layer. Zoom out a bit, there we go. Now brushes, your brush tool is this little paintbrush over here. If you hover over it, you'll see you have brush. If you hold your left mouse click over it, you'll see you have brush tool, pencil tool, color replacement, and mixer brush tool. So brush tool is the basic one, pencil is slightly different. Okay, so essentially when you start out, you will just have your basic brushes, which are simply these sort of draw on. Maybe if I made that black, it would be a little clearer. Right, yeah, so fairly simple. Now, where brushes become effective is when you have found some that you think are really nice, or you have made some of your own which you think are really nice and really useful, and then the sort of stuff that you want to use in designs often. There's hundreds of them online. Good websites are DeviantArt and Brush Easy. Now, one brush I'm going to use right now will be one of these vector line dots. Now, I've always found these quite nice, quite arty, and you can essentially see here what that 1264 is the number of pixels it is, so its size is px, and you can make him smaller, so you can make him to 77 and draw him on, or you could make it so it was 5000 and draw on, and that's how big it is. So I will just take it down to maybe about 255, draw it on. So there we go. It's quite a light one, so I can layer it a few times and make it look a bit darker. Now, another thing that brushes have is a brush, I suppose you'd call it a brush tool, and this allows you to change the shape dynamics, so you can, and shape dynamics will work like this. So there you go. I'm just holding the left click and dragging, and as you can see, what it's doing is it's jittering around the size, it's changing the angle, and you can see what it will look like down here. Now you can make it more round. You can, if angle jitter is basically how many different angles there'll be in, so obviously angle jitter of 0 makes them all go in the same direction, and size jitter is used to change the number of size. So if you made it really small or 0, they'd all be the same size. If you make it 100%, there will be loads of different sizes. So shape dynamics can be quite useful. You do have your general for just like brush, which can be, so you can rotate the brush here. So if you want to use the brush on a different angle or different plane, you might use this tool. And if you wanted to change its size, that can all be done in here. Scattering is another one, which is used to kind of like scatter. Essentially, there's not much else to say about it. I mean, you can change the difference between the scatters, the amount of scatters. There's all of this crazy stuff that can be done. So I'll just start a new layer now. I'll delete that old layer. You have texture and dual brush and color dynamics. To be honest with you, the main two are shape dynamics and scattering. When they start to be like really useful and really cool is when you have something like just some circles. So if I select one of these, they might give me a better effect. But you can, so I've got some nice brushes somewhere which would be perfect for this. I wonder if, no, these aren't really the sort of thing. But you can find loads of really useful brushes online. So yeah, there's not much more to say about them apart from be experimental. You never know what sort of thing you can design, and brushes can just really brighten up a design and make it look a lot more special and just generally a lot more designed, I suppose would be the word to use. I use brushes fairly often, especially if I'm a bit stumped for some design ideas. I might think, I'll play with some brushes, and then something will just come to me. So I'll show you. I can show you some examples of when I've used brushes. If you check out my DeviantArt profile, which I will paste, which I will place into the description. Now, DeviantArt, if you're starting out as a designer, it's quite useful. There's some really, you can get a lot of inspiration from that website. So I would recommend it to anyone. But brushes in general are just a really useful tool of Photoshop, and they're one of my favourite tools. So I hope you found this video useful, guys, and if you want to see more Photoshop tutorials, then simply subscribe. Thank you.